How's it going, everyone? Hello, hello, hello. Let me turn up some more lighting. Make it look like there's some light happening around town. This is Jose Trujillo. I'm an artist, and I just wanted to do this little live Q&A for those of you who have questions, from the artist. I'm going to be doing this live in Q&A lives. Questions and answers. I need more coffee, I think. So I'm gonna try to start doing this ones daily, and to answer different questions people have, and we'll see how it goes depending on if I get enough questions or engagement, or if I can answer anything. I don't know. Some people are new to painting, and they have a lot of questions, and it's sort of like many times it's such a big hassle to go around asking people, especially on Google, because you have to read a whole lot, or on YouTube you have to kind of sit there and go through the videos and try to find out, if there's an answer out there, but you have to watch the entire video, right? When you have a question about anything in particular, for the most part. But here's the opportunity for you to, you come across a question, you come across a challenge or something, and if you're new to the thing, right, if you're new to creating artwork, painting and whatnot, maybe you can write it down and be like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna ask in the next Q&A live, Facebook Live. I'm also going to be posting this on YouTube for the people who can't make it. They're going to be posted on YouTube, but of course they're not going to be live, right? So, so here's where you have the chance to ask questions as we're doing this. There's also different aspects of being an artist, right? I've been painting for about 20 years or plus, and throughout my career, I've seen different aspects, different things that have happened, from learning about materials, right? Learning about mediums, learning about all the sizes of canvases. What can you do? What you can't do in certain mediums. I know a lot about oil, and not. I don't say that. I don't say that just because I paint every day or whatever, but I've been messing with oil for a long time, so I have extensive knowledge on oil paint. So if you guys know an artist or know someone who's starting out, or someone who, they don't have to be artists, someone who's starting out and maybe they're new to artwork, maybe they you barely started picking up books on artwork, and you don't know why paintings are hung a certain way, or just certain little things that come up, right? Why are paintings hung a certain way in museums and in galleries, and why my artwork, when I hang it, I have a hard time adjusting to it. Those little things, believe it or not, make a whole lot of difference. They're not deal breakers, but they make a lot of difference. And when it comes to painting, when it comes to drawing, watercolors and all that kind of stuff, I know a lot of people have questions. I know on YouTube, the people that follow me on YouTube, there's a lot of questions. So for those of you who follow me on YouTube, I know I'm gonna be posting this, or you're gonna be watching this on YouTube. Get your questions ready and join us on Facebook, on Jose D. Trujillo. I'm going to put the link below, and check us out on Facebook. That way you have your questions ready, and you can ask, hey, Jose, what about this? Or what's your opinion on that? Or do you know anything about this? I know I don't know everything, but I know a lot of things when it comes to being an artist, and the progress, the ups and downs, the battles, the hills of just being an artist in general. There's so many things. There's a whole thing about what to create, how to name paintings. A lot of people don't have all this information, and I would have died. Personally, I would have died if I would have had an artist when I was starting out, say, you know what, you can call me and ask me questions, or we can, or you can, you can always ask me questions. A working artist, right? Not just someone who painted, but someone who dealt with it daily. And I would have, like they say, I would have killed for that, right? Not literally, but if I would have had an artist, just kind of answering questions that really are important, that matter to artists, to the creative type. And this, I believe, painting is just, it's just one of the things that we do. We create. We're artists. We create photographs, this, that. We draw, blah, blah. But I've noticed, I'm also a musician, and I noticed that the thing about being an artist, being a musician, being a creative in general, it's just kind of, it's the same thing in a weird way. There's so many similarities. It really comes down to just kind of learning the kinks, of especially work ethic. It has a lot to do with work ethic, just about 90% of it, if not more. And then the rest of it has to do with the talent and the stuff and the, and all those little things. I feel like a lot of people stop themselves because they don't have those little things figured out, because they don't have just those answers, certain little answers that just, they pop up. And as we're going through our career, it would be helpful to know those things, I think. I mean, I just personally think that it's a good thing. It's a good thing to share my knowledge, the things that I've learned. I used to do murals. I used to do frescoes. Believe it or not, because you guys see me do these little paintings, I used to do fresco work. Fresco and fresco a seco. That's just a dry mural. And I worked really big, and I've worked small, and everything in between. So I've played with different mediums. I played with tempera, egg tempera, with acrylic, with watercolors, with just different mediums, excuse me. Different mediums that help us figure this whole thing out. Because being an artist, it's an interesting gig. We want to do this daily. We want to do this, many of us, not everybody, but many of us want to do this we want to take it beyond the hobby. That's the dream for many people. If I could live creating artwork and doing well, and what I mean well is not just, I'm not just talking about monetarily, but having the freedom, because I know some artists create artwork for a living, like decorators, designers, muralists, and they still have a hard time. Well, because it becomes work, right? It becomes a job if you're not careful. It's always work, but if you're not careful, it becomes a monotonous job. And you have to keep that fresh. You have to keep that hunger, that momentum fresh. So I'll be talking about different stuff here. I'll be addressing questions, of course, like I mentioned. This is a great time, again, to ask the artist, right? If you have a question, you have those little things that are, and they're not little. I call them little just for the sake of I don't know, just having fun here. But for many people, they're not little. For many people, they're really across. It's hard to bear sometimes creating artwork and being a mom, creating artwork and being the breadwinner of the house, and having to have your day job and then going home and not having the energy or the enthusiasm of going into the studio, those little things, right? Or many times it's not even that. Many times it's plein air painters. For example, I've been a plein air painter. I do plein air painting, not as much as I used to, but I used to do a lot of plein air painting. Plein air painting means that you paint outdoors. It's a French word for open air or outdoors. And this type of painting requires you to be outdoors, of course, requires you to be out depending on the climate. Here in Arizona, it's really hot. So a lot of people love plein air painting, but not everybody likes to do it because it's so hot. So they kind of, I see a lot of people doing it during winter, when it gets a little cooler. and fall. And there are little things that it's good to know when you're plein air painting. For example, how to put together your easel, how to, what type of easel to carry around, the materials you're going to use, how do you, little challenges that you encounter. And it's good to sort of have someone being like, you know what, this is what you do in this situation, or I've done this. Maybe I'm not even looking to be like, oh, I'm going to teach you because I don't know everything. Maybe I'm going to learn. Not maybe, I'm more than sure I'm going to learn, because there's so many people out there. There's so many of you who are very professional in certain areas, if not in all, being an artist in all the areas, and we're gonna learn back and forth. So it's going to help me as well. Not just trying to help you, but I believe it's going to help me learn different things from different artists, different disciplines. I've met artists on YouTube that do something completely different and challenge and tackle challenges in a completely different way than I would. And once I think about it, I'm like, oh man, I that makes so much sense. I'm gonna start doing that. So it's a give and take. But I do have extensive experience in being an artist. In the time that I spend, I'm a full-time artist. I create artwork daily. I create artwork and work as being an artist for about 14 hours a day. Anywhere around there. I love it. I'm a workaholic. I think that is my gift. I don't think it's a problem. I think it's a gift. I love it. I love being engaged. I love creating artwork. I love talking about artwork. I could talk about artwork all day. I could wear anyone out talking about artwork, and not because I know about it. Not just because I know about history, blah blah. No. Just because I can talk about artwork. I can sit there and ask questions and just be engaged in the whole thing. I get soaked in the whole thing. It's something that has always interested me, different ways. I did some sculpture too when I was younger, and it's always interested me, the whole plastic arts. It has something very interesting, and as many of you know, being artists, we all share that. There's something very spiritual. For me, it is. It's very spiritual to be engaged in the arts. I think we're always looking for that. The peace. Some people call it happiness. Other people call it peace of mind. Other people call it spirit. Other people call it God. Whatever it is, I think we're always looking to be connected to that, connected to something that doesn't judge back. I think that's one of the reasons why we love looking at little babies, right? Or little puppies, they have this purity. Little animals, they have this flowers. They have this purity. Like it's not only beautiful; it's just kind of there. It has this purity, and it doesn't. It reflects. I believe it reflects the soul. And I think that's what artwork does. When you look at a piece of artwork and you're in awe, whatever that is, it's being reflected. Your soul has been reflected. I don't want to get airy-fairy on this, because these are just the way I see things. I'm not saying that this is the way it is for everybody, because I'm sure it's not. But for me, I believe that it's a very spiritual experience once you're in front of artwork that was created, especially when it was created from that state of mind, from a very calm state of mind, and calm in the sense of pure. I'm not saying sometimes it could be agitated, it could be expressive, but it's still from that true, pure state of mind. Even if you want to say something dramatic, it still comes from truth. It doesn't come from a negative area, from a criticism or this or that. It comes from, this is what's happening. Many times artists are reporters, if not. It's been, for the most part, artists have reported what's happening. They reflect what happens in society. So I think it's a pretty cool gig to be an artist. You get to experience all these things around, not just express yourself, which is a big cliche today. in modern day society, because we all want to express ourselves, and a lot of people get upset about that. They go, why do artists always try to express themselves? Why don't they just paint, or why don't they just do something beautiful? And as I mentioned in other videos, the level of entry has gotten wider. Hey, how's it going, Brian? Good to see you. The level of entry has gotten wider. So now you don't just have realist artists, or you don't have to be this hyper realistic artist, right? As it used to be in some time before, and then it just the idea of realism just keeps molding. It's just changing. Realism, compared from the Renaissance period, is very different to the Rococo or the Baroque, or it's very different to the realist or the Romantic period, and on and on and on. It just keeps molding and changing our idea of what realism is and what is acceptable. And about 100 years to now, that level of entry has been very expressive, and a lot of people are kind of confused, upset. Why does Picasso paint the way he does if he could do really beautiful, representational, realistic work? What's wrong with, I don't get it, or this or that. And we kind of go through these emotions, and I think they're all fair. And I'm not saying one thing is better than another thing. I think it's just that it has widened the level of the entry. I used to say has lowered, for the sake of the example, but I found out that that's kind of negative, talking negative about it, and I don't think abstract art is negative. Although there is some trash out there, there's trash everywhere, right? In realist work and in abstract work, but it has widened. That's so true. That's so true. Brian says art's always changing along with its definition. It's so true. It's a constant change. It's a river, It's like those philosophers used to say, you don't see the river, or that one philosopher, I don't know. You don't see the same river twice, right? Because it's always moving. It's in constant change and evolution, and the dynamic of it. I think it's difficult sometimes for us to grasp, because the dynamic art goes through not just changes, but it goes through a series of ups and downs, and depending on society, I think it goes together with society. If society is behaving a certain way, then artists from not just the time period, but depending on the region, act a certain way. If society behaves a different way, then they act more. It's just kind of it's always challenging. It's reflecting society and at the same time challenging it. So it's this back and forth, and I love that. I love that about art. I think every artist, like Brian, I think every artist loves that. It's just one of those things that when we see art, we're like, oh, it clicks. I know what's happening here. I know what they're talking about. I know what and I'm not talking about a knowing of. I know it's history. I know all the details about it, the size, when it was painted, what year, blah 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 blah. The medium. No, it's a deeper. It's a contextual knowledge. It's not. You can grasp the whole thing. You see it for what it is. It's like you see the Grand Canyon. You don't have to be a scientist to be like, oh, I know what that is. Even a child could look at it and go, oh, wow, look at that. Anyone can look at it and see how great it is. It's the same thing with artwork. So I'm going to be doing this Q&As. Again, I'm going to remind you guys, I'm going to try to do them every day, and we'll see how they go. If they don't happen every day, then we're gonna, move them around and see what days are better for people to have their questions ready. And it's just ask the artist. That's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions about creating artwork, mediums, marketing artwork, selling artwork, I have experience on all of those. As I mentioned, I'm a full-time artist. I've worked on this for over 20 years. I worked on my craft. I played with it. I used to be again, I'll kind of retouch what I said in the beginning. I used to be a muralist. I started doing murals, very large pieces, frescos with egg tempera, and I started moving over with acrylic and oils, and it's just a back and forth kind of thing that has been for me. And now I do these little paintings, and I do big ones too, but I've been working a lot on smaller paintings. because I started doing plein air painting. That's where it started, my obsession for the smaller paintings. Plein air painting, again, is painting in outdoors. Tempera is just an old paint that was used, pigment that was mixed with egg yolk or egg white. Some people even mix it with egg white. They used to use this for frescoes, for the, you know, like the frescoes in the Sistine Chapel or whatever. It was a resurgence in because of Diego Rivera and a lot of the Mexicans, like Siqueiros and Orozco in Mexico, and I got to see that. I'm from Guadalajara, Mexico, so I got to see all this, you know, a lot of these frescoes, and I got to see the artisans playing with that. So it kind of intrigued me, and I started doing that. I started learning, you know, just getting back to the roots. But tempera is just, it's very liquid, and it's considered a lot of the times very low quality paint, just because it's when you go to a store, to an art store, it's like one of the cheapest stuff, but you're not getting it because of the viscosity is very fluid, but you're really getting it because it's very it mixes very well with the egg, and therefore you are able to create a bond with the plaster for the frescoes. When you paint the fresco, you're supposed to paint it when it's wet. It's a wet on wet painting. If you catch it when it's dry, well, now it's no longer a fresco, now it's a seco, which is just an acrylic mural at that point. So, guys, my phone is about to die, but I'll leave you with that. Thanks, Jose Trujillo. Come back with some questions, and whatever I can. I don't know everything, but whatever I can help with, whatever I can, I'm sure that I'm going to learn from you guys as well. I know that for a fact, because everybody's has expertise and you know, and knowledge on certain things. Mine happens to be that I'm a full-time artist, and I've played with mediums and paint for over 20 years. And I want to be able to share that with you guys. I want to be able to share from mediums to marketing to selling artwork, presenting, taking the photographs for it. How do you take photographs properly, and all this kind of stuff. I have all these little things, and we can make I think a nice little back and forth, you know, with questions and answers, and we can share them. Who knows? Maybe some people can benefit from it. Take care. Till next time, I will be coming back to you guys soon with another one of these awesome segments. This is the first one. Okay, share with some friends. Share it with your artsy pals. Take care, guys. Till next time. Bye bye.